Thank you for joining me today. We're actually in the kitchen and we're going to be brewing some coffee using my favorite single serve pour over method, the Clever Dripper. And we're going to go through this step by step. Okay, thanks for joining me today. To get started, we're going to take our Clever Dripper, which has a lid, and we're going to put a number 4 filter inside of the Clever Dripper. And there is a kind of a pattern on the side edges here. I'm just going to fold these over and then set the filter inside. And then the next thing we're going to do is just wet the filter with some hot water just to get some of the paper taste out. Okay, wetting the Clever Dripper also preheats it as well. And while that's going on, I've gone ahead and I've pre-measured 23 grams of fresh whole bean coffee that I roasted just a couple days ago. This Nicaraguan honey processed coffee is delicious, and using this pour over method, it's going to be a great cup of coffee. This is a burr grinder that I'm using. So we're going to take the water that's in here and we're going to release it into the decanter, and that's going to pre-warm the decanter, which the coffee is going to eventually get put into. So now that the water is out of the Clever Dripper, I'm going to go ahead and add my grounds. Shake this a little bit. Ground should be laying flat in the Clever Dripper. I've used a fine to medium fine grind setting for my coffee grounds. The Clever Dripper is really inexpensive. You can find it online for under $25. I'll put a link in the description below, and you'll be able to find the Clever Dripper, the filters, my kettle that I use, as well as my grinder. The water that I'm using is filtered water. I use a Brita to just get out the contaminants. I have city water, and so there's things like chlorine and fluoride in our city water that I want to remove, and I don't want to have that influence the coffee flavor at all. 45 seconds. And then I'm going to go ahead and pour the rest in. I want 350 grams of water. Now, you don't have to use any special pouring technique for this. I just want to fill this up to 350 grams of water. So swirl this a little bit, just a tiny bit. What that's going to do is it's going to get that coffee from clinging to the filter, and it's going to float into the water and then eventually settle down to the bottom of the Clever Dripper. That's really important because ultimately what we're doing is we're immersing this coffee. We're actually steeping the coffee in the Clever Dripper for about 3 minutes, and during that time the extraction is going to take place. The water is going to extract the flavor from the bean, and then that bed of coffee that's at the bottom, the water will have to run through that. And that's really what we want to do here. So we've got about another 30 seconds or so that needs to pass, and then we'll go ahead and we'll decant the coffee. If you're new to home roasting or interested in it, or this is a whole new idea of brewing single serve coffee at home, take a look at my other videos on my channel. They could be helpful for you. Okay, we're at the 3-minute mark. We're going to go ahead and get the scale out of the way and take the lid off and decant. Just by setting the Clever Dripper on top, we're going to allow the coffee to drain out of the device. It's going to take about 30 to 45 seconds. You can see that the coffee is draining and it's not sticking to the walls of the filter, which is exactly what we want. Okay, that only took about 45 seconds to drain, so that gave us a total brew time of just under 4 minutes. And simply by lifting off the Clever Dripper, we've got a fresh mug here. We can actually pour into our mug. Okay, and so that's all there is to it. You know, it's interesting, it's simple as this is, this device, there was a coffee consultant, his name is Scott Rao. He's written several books and is well known in the coffee industry, specialty coffee industry. And Scott mentioned that the Clever Dripper is so easy to use that you don't need to be a trained barista. You can actually have a novice craft a great cup of coffee. And so that's what we've done here today, and I hope that this has helped you. Thanks for joining me today. You know what, if you could subscribe to this channel, that would be awesome. Hit the like button if you liked this video, if it was helpful to you. And most importantly, if you could hit the notification bell. Every time I upload a video, you'll get a notice. And thank you so much for joining me today. We'll see you next time in the Virtual Coffee Lab.